Um, so that's from Andy. And Andy, your online tool that you also use is FarmFlow, which has helped us out
Yep.
tremendously. Do you want to talk about FarmFlow as well?
Yeah, yeah. So we actually developed our version of it prior to it becoming Farm Flow to the public, before we even started. So we had a system that was up and running already that was tracking all of our planting, our harvesting schedules, our orders, all that fun stuff. And then over time, we kind of kept building in different things like task management and inventory management and seed management and things like that, for just keeping track of your seed lots, keeping track of how much seed you have left. And then late last year is when I finally was like, you know what, let's make this a user based system, and threw it out there. And there's a bunch of different people using it now, which is awesome. It literally is what has gotten us to where we are. I mean, I've never once used an Excel sheet, never once used a whiteboard, thank God. So I was able to avoid that entire phase and go straight to an actual system, that you can use. So yeah, FarmFlow is amazing. We've been using it for 3.5, 4 years almost at this point. It'll be 4 years in May, believe it or not, since we actually started. But it's helps us get to where we are. It helps us manage everything we have. And when you get to the point, it's not so hard when you only have a couple customers, but it gets really hard when you have dozens and dozens of customers. That's where things get a little challenging, especially when you have folks that are, getting a hold of you and saying, "Hey, I need to change this. Can you modify that? Can I cancel this week? I'll be out of town," or
Mm.
whatever. It's really handy to have tools like this in place. Plus the record keeping stuff, as of the food produce safety rule and GAP and things like that. We built all those tools in as well for the same reason. And what's cool is it's 30 days for free. So if you want to try it out, doesn't cost you a dime. We don't take any credit card information up front. You can try it out for 30 days. If you hate it, just let it expire. Don't worry about it. So that way you can at least get in there and play around with it and see if you like it or not. So, but yeah, I'll post a link into the chat. That way you guys can check it out. But yeah, that's what we've been
Don't
using since day one. So that
don't be
saves us a ton
sad.
of time.
Don't be sad if you're using a whiteboard or a spreadsheet because we went from whiteboard to spreadsheet
Yeah.
to seed leaf to farm flow. So we went, upgraded as we're going on and everything else, and everything has helped us. You're going to get, if you are using a whiteboard, you will, like, after about 8 to 10 customers, you're going to be driving your head. You pull your hair out. See, I had full head of hair before that. No, I'm kidding. Um, and then we went to an Excel spreadsheet that I developed and took the time to make an Excel spreadsheet, which we have available if you like, as well, that you can use. But when you go to a program and then you just upgrade to FarmFlow, it just does everything for you. Like, it runs the back end of your business besides the bookwork, the bills and all that stuff. But like operations of the actual business is amazing. So really does help us out a lot for planting, harvesting, to-do lists, all that stuff. So highly recommend software, and as cheap as they are, if they were around when we first started, I would have used it. But there was no FarmFlow or Seedly, so around when we started, there was no decent program. So now there is. So definitely highly recommend getting something right away. And
Yep.
I
I
know some
appreciate
people
that.
may say that
A lot of
FarmFlow,
work's going into it.
yeah, I know some people say FarmFlow is a little bit complicated to do. There's a lot maybe to set up, but do you have to set everything up, Andy, to be able to use it? Like, if you don't need to-do list or
No,
anything like
no.
that?
Yep, not at all. So I actually posted a video not too long ago that actually showed. It's about an hour and a half, and it's me going into heavy detail as to what you can do. So when you first log into FarmFlow, right on the Get It Started guide, it actually has that video right at the top. You only really need to do about half of what's in there, and that's just setting up your products, your pricing, your customers, your orders, things of that nature. Adding your seed into the system. That's really the biggest piece you have to get past to be able to use it really well. Then at that point, tasks are completely optional, highly recommended, but they're optional. Inventory management, again, highly recommended, but it's optional. You don't have to use the CRM. You don't have to use the team stuff. You don't have to use the record keeping if you don't want to. All those things are there for when you need it and if you need it. So it's just added extra features that you may or may not use. So it looks like a ton when you first log in, because it is. I mean, it does a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
so it can be a little intimidating, but that's why I created that video not too long ago. It's also on my YouTube page. If you find me on YouTube, you can actually watch that video without even signing up for FarmFlow to check it out. To kind of walk through at least that process of it. It doesn't get into the details of everything else, but at least you get an idea of, like, where do I start and what's my finish line look like, and how to actually get it set up completely. It does take time. That's the biggest downside, but it doesn't matter what you use. If you create an Excel sheet, it's going to take you days to make it. If you set up a seed leaf account, you're going to be adding all the same stuff in, for the most part, but it's not going to have as much options as what FarmFlow does. So, take the time to do it.